We look around and see all these incredible things: towering skyscrapers, massive bridges, even the software on our phones. And it all just seems impossibly complex. But what if I told you they all share the same secret sauce? Yep, behind every single one is a blueprint, a really structured plan that turns total chaos into a finished product. So today, we're going to dig into that original blueprint: traditional project management.
No, really, just stop and think about that for a second. The Great Pyramids? The Transcontinental Railroad? I mean, these were absolutely monumental projects, done way before we had computers or fancy software. So how on earth did they pull it off? How did they manage thousands of people and all those resources to hit one single epic goal?
Well, the answer, when you boil it all down, is pretty simple. They had a master plan. A super detailed, step-by-step approach where everything, every single stone, every worker, every day, was all mapped out right from the get-go. And that idea? That's the core of everything we're about to get into. Now, obviously, big projects have been around forever, but it was really in the 1950s that people in business and government decided, hey, we need to stop reinventing the wheel every time. So they started to formalize these master plans, turning them into a predictable, repeatable system. And this is basically what they came up with. See, the goal wasn't just to finish something, it was to do it predictably. The magic words here are on time and within budget. This whole methodology is about getting rid of surprises and making sure the final thing is exactly what you planned from day one. So, how does it all work? Well, it follows this really clear, logical path, almost like chapters in a book. It all kicks off with initiating. That's where the big idea is born. Then you get to the most critical part: planning. This is where that whole blueprint gets drawn up. Only after that's done do you move on to executing, the actual work. But you're not just hoping for the best. Monitoring is happening the whole time to make sure you're staying on track. And finally, closing, where you hand over the keys and hopefully learn from what went right and what went wrong. It's a straight line from A to B. Okay, so that 5-step process is kind of the roadmap, but to actually navigate it, every single project manager has to master this one fundamental idea: the project management triangle. Think of it like a constant juggling act, right? Every single decision you make pulls on one of these 3 strings. And here's the kicker: you absolutely cannot change one without messing with the other 2. It's a delicate balance. So first up, we've got scope. This is just the what of your project, the grand total of all the work that needs to happen. A really clear scope tells everyone on the team what's included, and, this part is so important, what is not included. This is your #1 defense against scope creep. That moment when somebody says, hey, could you just add this one tiny thing? Which, trust me, can completely derail the entire plan. Next is time, the when. And this one is relentless. You just can't make more of it. So the whole game here is to create a realistic schedule and then somehow stick to it. Every little delay creates a ripple effect, and it almost always ends up affecting the other 2 sides of the triangle. And the final piece of the puzzle is cost, the how much. Look, every project runs on resources, whether that's people, materials, or whatever, and all of that comes from the budget. This has to be locked in super early on, making sure you have enough financial fuel in the tank to actually make it to the finish line. So you might be asking, why are we juggling scope, time, and cost so carefully? Well, the answer is quality. See, quality isn't some 4th thing you manage separately. It's the result of balancing those other 3 things perfectly. The space inside that triangle, that represents the whole point of any project: delivering something excellent. All right, so you've got your 5 stages, you get the 3 constraints, but how do you actually visualize it all? I mean, how do you keep track of this giant master plan? Well, that brings us to maybe the most iconic tool in the entire traditional project management toolbox. Everybody meet Henry Gantt. Around the turn of the 20th century, he had this problem. How do you show an entire super complex project schedule in just a single glance? His invention, the Gantt chart, was so brilliantly simple and powerful that it's still a cornerstone of project management even today. Okay, ignore the list for a second and just picture this. A Gantt chart is like a visual story of your entire project. With just one look, a manager can see, the design phase is running late, and that's going to delay the construction phase, which can't start without it. It turns this confusing mess of tasks and dates into a clear, intuitive roadmap where you can spot problems before they turn into total disasters.
So all of this sounds very structured, right? Very 20th century. And with all these new, fast, flexible methods like Agile popping up everywhere, it's pretty easy to wonder if this whole plan everything up front approach is just a relic of the past.
So yeah, that really is the big question, isn't it? In a world that moves so fast, where change is the only constant, does this highly structured, kind of old school way of doing things even have a place anymore? The answer is a huge, resounding yes. For any project where the end goal is crystal clear and the steps to get there are pretty well understood, this method isn't just relevant, it's absolutely dominant. I mean, think about building a bridge or a skyscraper. You can't exactly iterate on the foundation, right? You need that master plan.
And really, that's its true legacy. Even the most modern, agile ways of working are built on this foundation. Traditional project management literally gave us the language we use. Words like scope, timeline, budget, risk. You could say it's the original operating system for getting things done.
So, we'll end with this thought. As our world just keeps getting faster and demands more flexibility, that tension between having a rigid structure and being able to adapt is only going to grow. But maybe the real question isn't whether the master plan is obsolete. Maybe it's about knowing when and where having that detailed blueprint is still the absolute surest way to build something truly great.